Hey up guys! So Halloween has just come and gone, so today I thought I would review something that is clearly trying to cash in on the spooky Halloween hype, and that is the new film which is written and directed by Crispian Mills, and it's called Slaughterhouse Rulez, with a Z. Oh yes. I came out of this film baffled. I just couldn't understand how a film with such reputable talents like Michael Sheen, Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, and this film which is supposed to be a comedic horror, and not be either funny or scary. I mean, Pegg and Frost gave us the Bleeding Cornetto trilogy. They are the kings of the comedy horror genre. And yet I didn't laugh or feel scared at all in this film. I came out of Slaughterhouse Rulez just feeling severely disappointed. Let's talk about it. So, Slaughterhouse Rulez is set at a prestigious boarding school called Slaughterhouse in Gloucestershire, and it's where Britain's future politicians, prime ministers, actors and CEOs are bred. It's a clear nod to all the fancy private schools in England like Harrow and Eton. Our central character is a lad called Don Wallace, who's played by Finn Cole, who is the brother of Joe Cole, and he is a Yorkshire lad that is sent to this fancy boarding school by his mum. Once he gets there, he is the odd northern duck amongst all the fancy southern swans. The school seems overwhelming at first for Don, what with the swarm of pretentious, self-entitled sixth formers and abusive prefects who single him out because of his working class roots. But things only get worse for him, the school, and for us to an extent from there. Honestly, the plot doesn't get any more interesting from where it starts. The school's greedy headmaster, played by Michael Sheen, has allowed a fracking company to frack just past the cricket pitch by their school. And according to local coot and drug dealer Woody, who's played by Nick Frost, this is going to open a portal to hell. Which it does. And all these demon creatures escape and attack the campus. That's the plot. So it's up to Don and a bunch of scrappy misfit kids and a lovelorn teacher who's called Meredith Houseman, played by Simon Pegg, to, I guess, survive the night. It's not really their duty to stop it, but because this is a movie, they kind of do save the day for some reason. The plot is a bit of a mess, so you just have to go with it. Right, positives. Here we go. Let me think. This film, positives. It's got charm. Yeah, it's charming. Is it charming? I guess it's a little bit charming. It's got that whole St. Trinian's, fancy pants, upper class, snobbish, quintessentially English humour to it, but it's just a shame so many of the jokes just fall flat. But one thing I can say that is pretty solid is the casting. I would say Finn Cole does a very good job of making a likeable leading man, and then there's Hermione Corfield, who plays Clemsy. I thought she gave a pretty decent performance as well. And then there's Tom Rhys-Harries, who plays this Draco Malfoy-ish character called Clegg, and he's just this sixth form prefect prick. And he's probably the standout because it's always fun to play a character that is just, you know, a twat to everybody. Weirdly, I thought Asa Butterfield was the most underutilized. His character Willoughby felt like it had the most potential. But even the scene which gave his character the most emotional development lacked impact, and it's just brushed over so quickly. The problem is though, Crispian's script never dives deep enough into the character of Willoughby. All his most interesting character points are only mentioned or glossed over, which is a shame because Asa Butterfield is a proven talent, and he just feels like this character is a wasted opportunity for him. Simon Pegg, Nick Frost and Michael Sheen do provide the film with a few giggles, but the film focuses mainly on the kids, so the marketing of this film might seem a tad deceptive to a few people, because the kids get most of the screen time compared to Pegg, Frost and Sheen. So don't go into this expecting Shaun of the Dead levels of Pegg and Frost. And I guess I can say the costumes and the use of setting was pretty good, but this is one of those films where the more prominent elements like the writing and direction are so bad that it makes the costume department look amazing. Which in a film where 90% of the characters are all wearing the same costume, i.e. the school uniform, that really says something. Yay, go costume department. All the students match. You've done a bang up job there, costume department. Okay, so let's talk about the negatives. And I'll be frank, the main problem this film suffers from is a terrible script, a terrible concept. There's no real plot to it. It's so higgledy-piggledy. It doesn't feel like Crispian's idea for the film was fully ever realized. It just feels like, oh, let's give it a fancy, posh boarding school setting and throw in some horror elements, okay? There's something there to work with. But it doesn't really feel like he constructed a solid narrative because we're just watching a group of misfit kids try to survive this one night. And there really isn't much for them to do than try and avoid these monsters that have crawled up from hell, supposedly. To be honest, it's just a little bit boring. I don't know what he was trying to say. Was it a commentary on fracking? Or is it supposed to be satire about going to boarding school? He doesn't really settle on a concept, and it's just, it's such a mess. And where Crispian also fails at is knowing who this film is aimed at. Is it supposed to be for kids, or is it for adults? Because there are moments in this where there's some gory horror which would imply it's for adults, but there's also a lot of humor that seems like it's aimed specifically at a younger demographic, like methane fart jokes or kids swearing, and even one of the pupils gets feathered at one point in this. So the tone interchanges from scene to scene. Sometimes it's a bit more serious, and others more lighthearted. It's very inconsistent, so I think both kids and adults will have trouble enjoying this. And because the film doesn't know who its audience is, it's just painfully unfunny and unscary. It doesn't even get the safety net of being a campy, guilty pleasure, because the tone is so inconsistent. And also the CGI on these demons is very noticeable, so that took me out of the film a bit. And also the finale of this film I thought was a bit of a letdown because it was predictable, but the execution of its predictableness was kind of flat. Like, it's an explosive finale that didn't actually have any oomph to it, if that makes sense. We know these kids aren't equipped to fight an army of demon hell beasts, so how do we kill them? They've come from a place that's filled with gas. It's so blatantly obvious, but even when they do this, it just feels kind of dull. Like, how can you make an ending with a massive explosion feel so boring? It's almost an accomplishment in itself. This film gave me an ending which wasn't exciting at all. The only thing exciting about it was I knew the film was almost over. That's how bad this film is. Alright, so the time has come for me to ask those 3 questions. Would I watch this again? No. Even with the reputable talent in this, I would have no desire to watch this again. This film just feels like a drag. Would I recommend it? Well, let me put it this way. I found myself feeling drowsy, like, around the halfway point of this film. Like, if a film that's supposed to be a comedy and a horror can't hold my attention and actually makes me feel sleepy, then no, there's no way I would recommend this to someone because it actually induces boredom and I felt tired watching this. It is just not a film I would recommend, no. And what score do I give it out of 10? This film is just a boorish misfire, and it doesn't even know what type of film it wants to be. It is just such a mess, even with so much good acting talent in it. It's just, sluggish viewing. So I'm going to give Slaughterhouse Rulez 2 out of 10. Sorry, it's that bad. Sorry, guys. Why am I apologizing? It's how I feel, and I'm sure other people will feel that way about it. Guys, if you have seen this film, do let me know what you think of it in the comment section below. Let's discuss this film. And yeah, if you guys are a fan of my content, please don't forget to click that subscribe button. And if you guys want to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Stardust, all that info is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. For more things related to movies, TV, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Hearfield, and I'll see you next time.